Alright, brother, here we are, just breaking down the SPY. I had a long day, got about 15 minutes for the open. Got home, my fucking electronic door lock wouldn't open, and spent about 30 minutes having to search on the internet to figure out how to do that. But, once again, I struck the notes from everything, and I'm going to try to ream myself enough so you can't do it to me about my terrible trade. So, first of all, talking about my video routine, here's the SPY. Still on the uptrend, pull back to this little support level, and we're coming back in with good volume, so it looks like the uptrend's intact. All right, moving on to pre-market, top two, which right now are GoPro. GoPro is gapping up. You can see the pre-market price right here. Gapping up kind of into this prior resistance level on the daily. Not really on the daily, rather, but this is a after-hours trading level, and also it's kind of respecting it here in the after hours in the pre-market. So the bigger picture is, we're in a recent downtrend. So you got lower low, lower high, lower lows, lower high. So this kind of looking like some kind of midline gap up. And so my bias is definitely to the short side. I'm not really looking for longs in GPro. The other one is Oracle, ORCL, other big pre-market mover. We are in an uptrend at recent uptrend. You kind of going sideways and got to a recent uptrend, holding higher above this level. We're gapping up to all-time highs, and so since we are gapping up so much, even though we're making higher highs, higher lows, and kind of consolidating up here, I'm wary about the large gap up. So this is more on my avoid list, since I don't historically trade gaps well. To break down my trade from yesterday, further demonstrate my ineptitude as we look on Clovis, which is the one stock I traded yesterday. I told you my setup was that price had broken out to all-time highs, closed at all-time highs on this wide range bar. Volume came in, so I was expecting expansion breakout the next day, but I'm an idiot, so what do is when I see the open and it opens flat, which is actually pretty good, but then immediately goes up, instead of being wary, I try to demonstrate that I can trade the first fucking test of VWAP, which we've established is not my fucking wheelhouse trade. So I got long right here. Maybe we can see that on settings from, okay, I guess it's already disappeared, but you can kind of see I bought Clovis at 957 at 70.90, and I had my stop down here, right in here, about 39.40, so about right in here, just below these lows, and so just barely got fucking ticked out before the wide range day. But point is, after we go up right off the open, that's got to be the signal that I cannot place a long trade until I have a lot more evidence. And so, once it goes up and starts coming back to VWAP, it comes down through VWAP and then starts holding above, like this is my spot to get in, and I have a clear, defined risk right here, which is actually quite a lot. It's like $1.25, but I can still, at least I have a place where I know I'm exactly wrong. You could even argue that there was like a better trade over here, like to enter later in the day, but I don't know, man. At least here I have a chance to get in with a actually looking at this now, it's still like 3-1 at best. So it looks good on the daily chart, Clovis does, but as far as the big picture went, it was that was my setup. My triggers when it took out the prior day's high, and then my entry was that VWAP pullback. But I think this and it was scaled a little bit because of this move from the prior day. So it went from like 62 to fucking whatever, like 68 right at the end of the day. So this didn't look as big, to be honest, like right off the bat. But it's 4.5 points in a $69 stock, $70 stock. So I had to be playing defense, and that's going to keep me out of bad trades more times than not. So that's probably why I had losing trade. I don't know where else like I could have put my stop, like maybe even further down here, would have been the thing. So I have to give it more, but That was my losing trade from yesterday. So hope I berated myself enough that there's only little taint smacking you're gonna do to me later. So reviewing another trade from yesterday that was good was Siru. The setup was that we had this coming off this base, right? Coming off this base, and then like volume came in, and we had this wide range day on volume. So the trigger is taking out this day's high. We come in and blast through it. So trigger's right there, and you could have been looking for pull back in here or something in here. I mean, opened up, so we got what we liked is a test down right off the open, which is good. And so in any open up scenarios, that's exactly what I like to see, is the little U, as you like to talk about. There's a little prior resistance become support, so it could have been bidding right in here or buying at market and risking like 15 cents and still it made 50 cents, like, so 3 to 1, pretty good trade there. What else was good? Blue from yesterday. So what's a setup? In a recent uptrend, at all-time highs, at 52-week highs at least. So higher highs, higher lows. We're getting to the all-time high. So the trigger is when we take out this all-time high. We have pulled back to the midline and kind of been grinding up, but once we get up here, we take out the all-time high. We come to the 1 minute chart. We kind of tick it. There's your second rat gets the cheese ticket. Pull back the view up and start grinding higher. So it could have been bidding in right here. Could have waited till later and got in one of these little spots here. But that was the setup on the daily. Is we're in an uptrend. We get to all-time highs. Triggers through this level. And like you said, we don't go up a fucking million points off the open. I mean, blue, ATR and big wide range days in blue go for like 8 points. So 4 points off the open is not too far. All right. So that was another good trade. So I'm getting rid of blue off this list. Momo is, so let's see, another, can I get Siru? And we keep this on here because it's still, volume's still good and still in play. Okay, I have this obvious level in Siru I'm going to mark here. So keeping that on my list, I'm going to set alert here. If it triggers up here, then I will be interested. Builder. So recently, we just gapped up at all-time highs. I've just got an alert set. We've been making kind of grind. This looks like an ABCD pattern on the daily. I've got an alert kind of right under here. So we take out today's high. We should, if volume comes in, this could be setting up for a wide range day. GBT, kind of the same thing, just kind of these overlapping sideways bars. The volume is, still trading like 2 million shares a day, so even on low volume, but this volume came in, so it's holding in the top 90% of its range, which is one of the things we like. We talked about Builder, Siru, we did that. AOI pulling back to the midline, so I'm just going to be eyeing this. If it gets above this day's high, my setup is in an uptrend. Right, in an uptrend, pulling back to the midline, which is also kind of this like support level on the daily, where it broke out from before. The trigger would be taking out like this day's high to look for long as the volume comes in. ESPR, uptrend on volume, like higher highs, higher lows. Haven't seen any like backside looking change of character moves or anything like that. So kind of, once we got extended from Keltner, kind of pulling back inside Keltner now, and got a few like overlapping days. So that's my setup. Kind of looks like almost like a flag on the daily here. And if we get above this kind of like multi-level, it kind of, this is like a level of a 4. I wouldn't call it anything awesome, but if we get above these highs, that would trigger to look for a trade. Clovis was my failure from the other day, so I'm gonna, get rid of that. That's really anything for today. Alf's still in play. We got a nice multi-day level here. So the 14th, kind of hit it twice. Hit it on the 10th a couple times. So I would be looking for longs if it triggers above this like 858, 860 level. That trigger would let me know that there might be some more interest to the upside. Because we did gap down, but we're kind of back on the calendar. This was really overextended. So we, had the large gap down in or after hours trading, but we're still kind of like hovering here. There hasn't really been that wide range day down during trading hours. So see how that goes. So those are my ideas for trading. The Momo is just kind of holding, just like underneath all-time highs. Like after we had this wide range day, closed up off the lows, so I think that's a sign of strength. In an uptrend, obviously in a at all-time highs, just like holding near all-time highs. So that was my setup, and then looks like we're slated to open higher here. If we do, I would like to see a test down, then kind of ABCD up. I do not want to see gap up and go up straight off the open. That's not what I want to see in any of these stocks that I was trading, because SPY is leading towards stocks being at all-time highs, that kind of thing. So we don't want to see large gap ups, go ups. That's not what I'm looking to trade. I'm feeling good because I put in the work at least today to make sure I'm prepared. I'm ready to go for today's trading session. And I'm a dick hair away from having a winning trade in Clovis. So as far as away as I feel sometimes, I do feel that I am close, but it's gonna take more than I've been given, man. And you're fucking honest with me, and that's all I can ever ask. And I know that's because you want me to succeed, but mainly because you don't want to feel like you're wasting your fucking time anymore. Like, dude, I don't blame you. So anyway, so that's just like landing the plane on those ideas that I had. I showed you where I had alerts, and I showed you that Momo is definitely top on the list. Yeah, definitely Builder. I mean, I've got an alert set, so we'll see what that happens. I'm gonna stalk that off the open, but definitely watching Momo off the list has been in play recently with all this volume here. Alf is still in play, but I've got the alert set for that. So I'm gonna be eyeing GoPro. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw a GoPro on my 4-minute, and that is all I'm gonna be looking at for today, brother. All right, man. Late.